Assalamu alaikum, students. Hope all of you are fine. Today we'll complete chapter 2 of Reader. We did half chapter in last lecture, and the chapter is how Robert of Locksley became an outlaw. Who will tell me main points of first half of chapter number 2? Who will tell me main points of it? We read it in last lecture, na? So please let me know what happened in the first half of chapter 2. Okay, fine. Khadija, unmute your mic.
Teacher, there was Robert's wedding ceremony with Lady Marian,
Okay,
but
fine.
uh, uh, a man named Sir Guy of Gisborne came in the wedding ceremony, saying that Robert is an outlaw and he's a
And
traitor.
traitor. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the main point. But besides it, there are a few points which I'm going to tell you. Robin Hood and Lady Marian's personality is described there, and then two palmers appeared there in Robin Hood's wedding. And then there was a group of singers who were wishing Richard and Robin, and they were expressing, this group of singers was expressing their dislike for Prince John. And then there was Will Scarlet appears, he comes there with a boy of much, and then he tells Robin Hood about Miller's son, that now that boy will be cared by Robin Hood. And those two palmers were there, and no one suspected the two supposed palmers in the wedding ceremony of Robin Hood and Lady Marian. Okay, we have to start from page 23. Who will read page 23? Khadija, would you like to read page 23? Yes, students, please raise hand. Who would like to read page 23? Okay, I'm going to read page 23. Sir Guy of Gisborne laughed harshly. There is no time, this is no time for jest and fairy tales. He cried, we all know that you have ever flouted the laws and striven to set the serfs against their masters. Why, the very act of calling yourself Earl of Huntingdon in right of your mother's Saxon forebears shows you as a traitor. The old Saxon earls were deprived and outlawed for refusing to obey their rightful king William of Normandy, and only the earldom created by the king has any right in law. As for your trespasses in the matter of the forest laws, everyone knows your skill in archery, and there are few travelers in these parts who have not eaten the king's venison under your roof. Finally, please don't unmute your mic. Students, please don't unmute your mic. Everyone knows your skill in archery, and there are few travelers in these parts who have not eaten the king's venison under your roof. Finally, it is useless to pretend ignorance of the crimes committed by you under the false name of Robin Hood. Okay, whatever is said, all this is said by Sir Guy of Gisborne. Okay, fifth line. Look at the fifth line. The old Saxon earls were deprived and outlawed for refusing to obey their rightful king William of Normandy. So this is British history. Let me show you a slide. Look at that slide and try to understand it. Okay. In British history, there were two tribes who were immigrants who came from France and Germany. The people of the tribe who came from France, that tribe was Norman. The people of that tribe were called Norman, Norman, Norman. And the people of that tribe, the people who came from Germany, that tribe was called Saxon. Okay. And as you can see on the screen, people from France, Norman are people who came from France, and Saxon are people who came from Germany. And Normans were also immigrants, and Saxons were also immigrants. They were the one, Normans were the one, but Normans were the one. Students, if you want to ask something, please raise your hand. Don't unmute your mics yourself. Don't unmute your mic. Okay, they were the ones who conquered England in 1066 in 11th century. It is 11th century. And these Normans, these treated Saxons as slaves. Okay. Look at page number 1. Class 8, look at page number 1. Okay, the history is written here on page number 1. History is written here. History of Normans and Saxons is written here. First of all, we'll read this page 1 and 2. Who would like to read page 1? Hurry up, students, raise your hand. Okay, Seher, unmute your mic. Khadija, unmute your mic.
Teacher, may I read?
Okay, read.
Before
You have to start from second line. Second line of page number 1.
From it was an adaptation.
I'm saying page number 1. Second
Yes.
line. William the Conqueror. Page number 1. Okay, Seher, mute your mic. Khadija, you will unmute your mic. Seher, please mute your mic.
Teacher, I find it.
Okay.
William the Conqueror had divided the country amongst his followers only in special cases, leaving the all second hands the ownership of even a small part of what had once been their properties. Often the new Norman earls.
Okay, fine. Now you have to underline from here. Often the new Norman earls and barons and knights and their sons and grandsons also treated the Saxons as mere slaves. So what is this line telling us? This is telling us that Saxons were considered slaves. They were treated as slaves by Norman. So underline this. Underline it. Class 8, please underline it. Often the new Norman earls and barons and knights and their sons and grandsons also treated the Saxons as mere slaves. So who were slaves? Saxons were considered slaves. They were treated slaves. And after slaves, there is a dash. And after dash, this word slaves is described. Serfs to till the land for them and follow them in war, and serfs with no rights because they were slaves, so they had no rights of their own and they had no choice of real justice. Please underline it all. You have to underline from here. Often the new Norman earls and barons and till real justice. You have to underline till here. So it is about Norman and Saxon, that Normans considered Saxons as slaves and they treated them as slaves. So that's why Sir Guy of Gisborne is saying to Robin Hood, come back to page 23. Sir Guy of Gisborne is saying to Robin Hood, because that your mother was also from Saxon tribe. So the old Saxons were deprived and outlawed for refusing to obey their rightful king William of Normandy. It is written on page 23 and it is fifth or say 1, 2, 3, sixth line. It is sixth line. Underline this sixth line, the old Saxon earls till Normandy. William of Normandy is a king that was the king that was also from France. William of Normandy was also Norman and he was also from France. So on page 23, you have to underline this line, sixth line. The old Saxon earls were deprived and outlawed for refusing to obey their rightful king, William of Normandy. Till here, underline it, because it is telling us the history. Okay, Khadija, please read page 23 again. Unmute your mic, Khadija.
Guy of Gisborne laughed harshly. This is no time for jests and fairy tales, he cried. We all know that you have ever floated the laws and striven to set the serfs against their masters. Why, the very act of calling yourself Earl of Huntingdon in right of your mother's Saxon forebears shows you as a traitor. The old Saxon earls were deprived and outlawed for refusing to obey their rightful king, William of Normandy, and only the earldom created by the king has any right in law. As for your trespasses in the matter of the forest laws, everyone knows your skill in archery, and there are few travelers in these parts who have not eaten the king's venison under your roof. Finally, it is useless to pretend ignorance of the crimes committed by you under the false name of Robin Hood. How many among your own followers are proscribed felons who are said to belong to Robin Hood's band? What of his lieutenant, who is also
Lieutenant,
of your household?
Lieutenant,
Lieutenant, who is also of your household? What of Much, the miller's son, whom Robin Hood has under his care in your house of Locksley Hall? Why then, came the quiet answer. Here and now Robert Fitzooth, Earl of Huntingdon, ceases to be. You have called me Robin Hood, both you and your sheriff, yes, and Prince John himself shall live to fear that name. And not only you, but all those like you, the abbots and bishops who grow fat on the sufferings of the poor, the Norman knights and barons who break both the king's law and the law of God in their cruelties
cruelties and oppressions.
and
Oppressions.
oppression.
Okay. Till here you have to read. Okay, fine. Thank you. Okay, here Sir Guy of Gisborne, he makes fun of Robin Hood. He laughs harshly. And he says that we all know that you have broken laws and you have asked the slave against their masters, because you have asked the slaves to go against their masters, and you are a traitor. You are a Saxon from your mother's side, and all Saxons were deprived of and outlawed because they did not obey the king. So from his mother's side, he was Saxon, and that's why he was considered as Saxon, and that's why he was deprived of and outlawed, because those people did not obey the king. And who was that king? at that time King William of Normandy, and now he is again not obeying the king, that is Prince John. Who was William of Normandy? And he was Norman. He was from France, and Normandy is a place in France. So Norman conquered England in 1066 and then occupied England. And at that time, Saxons were considered slaves. So Sir Guy of Gisborne tells Robin Hood, I know you are a skillful archer, and there are few travelers in Sherwood Forest who have not hunted. So don't pretend to be false Robin Hood. How many people are in your group? Now he is asking that how many people are in your group? And then he is answering himself. He is asking the question and then he is answering himself. He names Much, Miller's son, and tells about all his actions, that Miller's son is under your care in Locksley Hall. This is all told by Sir Guy of Gisborne. He further says, now Robin Hood isn't afraid of it. When Sir Guy of Gisborne asks questions and then answer himself, then Robin Hood is not afraid of Sir Guy of Gisborne, and he says that you will have fear of that name Robin Hood. Not only Robin Hood, you will have fear of not only this name Robin Hood, but abbot and bishop who grow up by oppressing poor, and all those Norman who break king's law. They are cruel and oppressive. At this, Robin Hood says that all those Norman who have broken king's law, they are all cruel and oppressive. You will have fear of this name Robin Hood. It means you must be afraid of my name Robin Hood, because now I will see all those cruel people and I will fight with them. Okay, next, who will read next page, page 24. Hurry up, student, unmute your mic.
Teacher, may I read?
Yes.
Then turning to Marian Fitzwalter, who had stood all this while by his side, Robin said gently, Lady Marian, did you give your love to the Earl of Huntingdon, whose land stretched from the Trent to the Ouse, or to plain Robin Hood, the outlaw who returns now to the home of his birth under the green leaves of Sherwood Forest, neither to the Earl nor to his earldom, answered Marian firmly, but to the man whom I love and whose wife alone I shall be. Indeed, I thought no other, said Robin gravely, and through the ceremony
Please let me know where from you are reading. I ask you to read page 24.
Teacher 24 ही read कर रही हूँ.
Okay, continue.
Ceremony is but half completed. I hold that we are none the less man and wife in the sight of God and of this congregation. Lord Fitzwalter, to your care and commit your daughter. Guard her well at Erlingford Castle, and I will demand her of you again when King Richard is here to place her hand in mine. To that also I swear, cried Marian, you, Robin, are my lord, and my husband, and no other shall ever be aught to me. Thought true, I live and die a maid. Go quickly now, said Robin to Lord Wilswalter, and go you quickly with him. Sweet Marian, no, you cannot help me when I have beaten off this curse. I ride to the merry greenwood, there to set up my coat. Come now, false traitor, and outlaw Robin Hood.
Okay,
Cried
stop here, Sahar. Sahar, please stop here. Okay. On page 24, Robin Hood says, now you will see when I'll reign in Sherwood Forest, and then you will be in terror until King Richard comes back. And again, there will be justice. When King Richard will come back, again, there will be justice. So Robin Hood is saying this all to Sir Guy of Gisborne. He says that there will be justice everywhere in England when King Richard comes back. And how confident and courageous Robin Hood is. At that time, Robin Hood asks Marian, do you love that Robin Hood who is an outlaw and whose lands stretch from Trent to Ouse? These are the name of places. Trent is village, and Ouse is also name of a place. She says that she does not love the earl or earldom, but she loves the generous and good spirit of Robin Hood. Now the ceremony is half completed. And Robin Hood says to Fitzwalter, take your daughter. Fitzwalter is the father of Lady Marian. Now Robin Hood says to Fitzwalter, take your daughter Marian to Arlingford Castle. Guard her well mean to protect her well. And when King Richard comes back, then I'll marry her. And at that time, he asks Marian, go with your father, and I have to go to Greenwood, and I have to fight with these rascals. So these, when he is saying these rascals, so it means those all cruel people, cruel and bad people, okay? So this is all about page 24. Who will read page 25? Students, please raise your hand. Are you not interested in reading? Okay, I'm going to read page 25. Come now, false traitor and outlaw Robin Hood, cried Sir Guy of Gisborne. Out of your own mouth are you convicted of treason many times over before this company, whom I call upon to witness. Come now, deliver up your sword and submit yourself to the authority of your undoubted lord, Prince John. If you do so, there may still be mercy for you. Okay, let me tell you about this. The way Sir Guy of Gisborne calls Robin Hood, it shows his dislike for Robin Hood. It means he dislikes Robin Hood. He says, come on, traitor, give your sword to me and go to Prince John. And if you do so, there will be mercy for you. He will show mercy for you. If you do so, then Prince John will show mercy for you. At this, Robin Hood says, he knows of no mercy. It means Robin Hood means he does not know, Prince John does not know what is mercy. He knows of no mercy. Prince John knows only the desires of his own evil heart, and you do ill to serve him. As for my sword, I deliver it up to John and his officers thus. At this, Robin Hood says that Prince John knows of no mercy. Robin Hood takes out his sword and strikes in such a way that Sir Guy of Gisborne stumbles and loses his balance and falls to the ground. So actually it is in next paragraph. With a sudden lightning movement, Robin whipped the sword from his side and smote. Smote means strike sharply or hit sharply. He smote Sir Guy of Gisborne such a blow upon his iron helmet that he stumbled and fell to the ground insensible. So actually Sir Guy of Gisborne stumbled and he fell to the ground. Then he charged down to nave. Then he charged down the nave. Nave is a central part of church where the ceremony had to be taken place. So that is central part of the church where the ceremony had to be taken place. His men closing in from either side as he went, and a short, sharp battle took place near the chapel door. When Sir Guy of Gisborne falls to the ground, then Robin Hood moves forward towards the nave. Robin Hood's men were beside him, and a short battle took place. Short battle starts near chapel door. Help, murder, sacrilege. Who is saying this? It is said by Fat Abbot. Abbot is actually father in church. And his monks and friars took up the cry as they pushed and crowded in their eagerness to escape through the narrow door which led to Abbey. All the monks and friars, they were afraid, they got afraid, and they escaped through the narrow door which led to Abbey. They were speeded on their way by an occasional arrow from Robin's archers, who continued to send shaft after shaft among Sir Guy's followers until they too fell back towards the door, by which the abbot had already squeezed his way into safety. So Abbot was successful to make his way to a safe place. At that time, Abbot is actually father, the person who is in church. And at that time, he was successful to make his way out of the church. You can see in the picture, Sir Guy of Gisborne is lying on the ground. On next page, there is a picture, although it is black and white, but you can get it that this is Sir Guy of Gisborne who is lying on the ground. Okay, what happened then? All the monks, they all became afraid. Abbot became afraid. All monks and friar, they moved from there. They managed to leave that place and they went to a safe place. But Robin Hood and Sir Guy of Gisborne, they were still fighting. Who will read next page, page 27? Yes, students who would like to read next page, please raise hands. Musaf, you will read page 27. Unmute your mic, Musaf. Please unmute your mic, students. Hurry up. Do not waste time. Amazing. Are you not listening to me? Okay, it's page 27. I'm going to read it. When the sound of horses' hoofs told him that Lord Fitzwalter with Marian and their followers were well away in the direction of Arlingford Castle, Robin gave the signal to his men, and with one determined charge, they were out of the chapel and away through Sherwood Forest in the direction of Locksley Hall. So here in this paragraph, it is told that when Robin Hood heard horses' hoofs, he got to know that Lady Marian had gone with her father, Fitzwalter, to Arlingford Castle. So in this first paragraph, it is told that Lady Marian had gone, and Robin Hood knew this. Then Robin Hood asked his men to go to Locksley Hall through Sherwood Forest. And then in second paragraph, Sir Guy, still half stunned, he was still shocked. Sir Guy was only just raising himself from the floor of the chapel, and Robin had disappeared with all his following into the green depths of Sherwood by the time he had gathered his wits and staggered to his feet. At this time, in second paragraph, Sir Guy of Gisborne stood unsteadily on his feet. Unsteadily mean unbalanced. He speaks ill about Robin Hood. He says bad words about Robin Hood. When it is said he speaks ill of Robin Hood, then it means he speaks bad words about Robin Hood and his friends. And thinks that Robin Hood goes to, if Robin Hood goes to Locksley Hall, then sheriff and woman will be waiting for him there. And in third paragraph, it is told that Sir Guy of Gisborne leaves chapel. There is no use in following him now. God Meleson upon this rogue Fitzooth and his friends. Meleson is a curse, and rogue is a bad person, a person who behaves badly. He exclaimed, but he'll find the sheriff and master woman waiting for him at Locksley Hall if he ventures there. So he is thinking that if Robin Hood goes there in Locksley Hall, then sheriff and woman will already be waiting for Robin Hood in Locksley Hall. Bidding those of his followers who still stood upon their feet attend to those whom Robin's followers had let out on the chapel floor, Sir Guy made his way into the abbey, where the abbot was only too ready to entertain him to dinner. Now Sir Guy came to abbot for dinner. He had dinner with abbot. At this point, Abbott was in great shock. Abbott was in great shock, and he also speaks ill of Robin Hood. In next paragraph, it is told that Abbott was also in great shock, and he speaks ill about Robin Hood. At that time, when he's speaking ill of Robin Hood, at that time he forgets his dignity, because he must knew that he is Abbott and he should not say this word. But at this time, he forgets his dignity. He forgets who he is. And he also forgets that he is the father of the church. That's why at this time, he is not in his senses. That's why he speaks ill of Robin Hood. He also wishes that such a man should be killed. Now, this is the wish of Abbott also. Sir Guy of Gisborne also wanted this. But this is also the wish of Abbott, that such a man should be killed. Such a man like Robin Hood should be killed, and the killer should be blessed. And the one who will kill Robin Hood, he will be blessed. So at this point, Sir Guy of Gisborne agrees with Abbott. Okay, so on this page, there is a conversation between Sir Guy of Gisborne and Abbott, and in the beginning, Lady Marian leaves the castle, leaves the church. On page 27, in the beginning, Lady Marian leaves the church. Sir Guy of Gisborne manages himself to stand up, and then he goes to Abbott, and there's a conversation between Abbott and Sir Guy. Okay. Now, who will read page 28? Students, please raise hand. Otherwise, you will not get this novel. If you do not read it, you will not get this novel. You will not get what is going to happen in this novel. Muzammil, would you like to read? Unmute your mic and read. Hurry up, Muzammil. Students, please unmute your mic. Muzammil, unmute your mic. Tahir, unmute your mic. Hurry up, student. Muzammil, please unmute your mic and start reading. Okay. Because only 1 minute is left, I'm going to tell you main points, what's going to happen on page 28 and 29. There's a friar. Now there's a friar appears there. Friar praises Earl Robert. Friar praises Robin Hood. At this, Abbot says to Friar that you told me wrong. How can an outlaw be a worthy man? How can you be sure about his skill and an archer? So this is the conversation between Abbot and Friar. Friar is praising Robin Hood, but Abbot is not accepting this praise. And then Sir Guy of Gisborne says that the reality is that Robin Hood is an outlaw and he should be killed. At this point, Friar says, you have taken his home, his property, other goods, and no one will be safe from him now. He meant to say that you have taken his all the things, and now he will fight with all those people. Then Sir Guy of Gisborne asks Abbot that how Fitzwalter was agreed to marry her daughter to such a man like Robin Hood. So actually he meant to say, Sir Guy of Gisborne meant to say that Fitzwalter should not be agreed to marry her daughter to such a man like Robin Hood. And on next page, Robin Hood wants to leave for the castle where the Lady Marian had gone. So Robin Hood wants to leave, and he wants to go there actually, and he wants to have a conversation with Lady Marian. Sir Guy of Gisborne. Sir Guy of Gisborne. He wants to see Lady Marian. On page 29, Friar supports Robin Hood and Marian. And Sir Guy of Gisborne, he wants to go to Arlingford Castle, and he says that he will live there and he will be having conversation with Lady Marian. So this chapter 2 ends here when Sir Guy of Gisborne wants to leave the church and